Hey everybody, glad to see you back. We did an answer question on Facebook Live the other day. Went on for a couple hours, so we decided to break it down into shorter versions. And we have 8 segments to cover. Segment 1 is introduction. We talked about some shaft through stuff, new shock series that we're developing, just some of the things that are happening new in the racing world. We'll break each section down and put them in the comments of what we talked about so you can kind of sort through and look at what might interest you the most. So before we get started, if you could like, share, or comment, that helps us to grow our channel and it goes a long ways. So let's get back to them questions and answers. Let's get started. You ready?
Yep, ready.
Well, it's that time. So what we're going to do is we're going to do questions and answers, and we're going to start out with talking about a few things that have arrived up here in the last week or so. Apparently the Late Model Association has changed some of the rules. One of the rules was shaft through, rod through shocks. Rod through shocks are not really a new concept, but they have not been legal in our form of racing ever. And I don't think they're going to be legal in any other class except for super late model. A rod through shock looks like this, where the eye on the body is offset and the rod goes all the way through. So whatever happens when this shaft goes in, this shaft displaces the same oil. Well, a rod through shock doesn't have any rod force. And that's the appealing part of what they are after. So they are wanting to use this on the right rear. Okay, well, like anything, what we're looking for in this sport is something new so we can sell it, marketing. Okay, zero rod force is your best bet for increasing feel on the right rear. Okay, step number 1. I always say, find the problem, fix the problem. Okay, this is getting to the problem, but I don't know that it's the heart of the problem. I just don't feel like it is. I feel like this is going to be an improvement, but we have not raced base valve stuff well. We can, but we haven't. But we can. Okay, so we need to. We've been working this path for 4 or 5 years, right rear, but I can't get feedback from people. Okay, so we have some of the very best base valve shocks I feel like on the market. There are some people that say, not to run a base valve. They don't like base valves. There are base valves that don't work very well. This is not all created equal. Okay, our base valve works very well, I feel like. We have worked on, base valve, SRT, and an elite style shock with double bushings to reduce all drag in the shock. Okay, we're trying to make the maximum amount of feel. I get beat up sometimes, not by racers, by competitors, and I take it with a grain of salt because I feel like we have a very good seal head, and it's a very low drag seal head, and it produces a lot of feel for the drivers. Okay, drag on a shaft or drag in a body isn't rebound; that's resistance. Okay, so low rod force, is what everybody's hunting. Okay, and to me, it's not the rod force. I mean, that's a good thing, but it's not the rod force. It's the fact that we're making valving, okay? And that valving, we're not forcing oil through any other bypass in the shock. It's going through the piston. If the oil doesn't go through the piston, go through the shim stacks, energize the shim stacks, then it's not going to make valving, and that's not going to make grip. So we have feel, we have grip, and we have rod force. And rod force cancels out our feel. Okay, doesn't necessarily cancel out all the grip or the fact that there's grip there, but if you can't tell that it's there, you're not going to respond to it. So this is why it's been so appealing. In my opinion, when we go to a base valve, I feel like our shock works better. All shocks work better because it's forcing that oil through the main shim, through the main piston. It's not pushing the divider piston. It's not bypassing the main piston. It's not leaking around the shim stack. It's not leaking around the wear band. It's going through the stack, and that's creating grip. So that's what we're after. So there's many other things involved in making grip on the right rear. The right rear is this huge, important piece of the puzzle that we're just now starting to uncover. So, and I told our team people, you know, we need to work on this as some of them seen evidence of it at USRA Nationals last year. You know, here's a place you go, it's very slick, very hard to feel the right rear, you know, and we had to work on that with people over there. And, you know, their cars got better, so they experienced that, they understand that. But for those that haven't, or just not finding the right rear, not happy with how the right rear feels in your car, we need to eliminate the problems that are there and then work on the car to make more feel. I'm not even for sure what late model series says yes or no, but they changed the rule on this. It's been a long time rule for a while. They changed the rule on it. It's got everybody excited. Shaft through, it's just one of them deals. I think it's an okay deal. I think it's a great deal, but I don't think it's necessary. And just like when we went from a hose to a piggyback, it didn't fix our problems because we're still out there looking at it. We've been dealing with this right rear deal for 25 years, and it's in every form of racing. So think about that. It's not just a late model deal. It's a stock car, hobby stock, B mod, A mod. It's street stock, super stock, factory stock, whatever you want to call them. If they got a shock on the right rear, it's a problem. So think about that because it needs to be addressed. It needs to be fixed. So I feel like we have a little bit of a head start on the deal. We're not going to do this type of shock for the late model world. We are doing some late model stuff, and I think we're doing some really good late model stuff. And number one fix, had a long conversation with a pretty good, I don't know if he wants to be named, but pretty good modified driver and his dad. It was with his dad, and they are a factory representative for another shock company. Okay, and I let him in on the little secret of how to fix that right rear feel. And, it's just something that we got to be doing. Other things that we're going to talk about here, discuss a little bit why we're, getting some questions lined up and getting people online here and stuff, is 15 series. I want to tell you a few things that we've been doing that I felt like I haven't really got out to the general public very well. 15 series base valve. When you take a base valve shock, that's a smooth body. 15 series, we do a base valve in a 15 and a 25. But the 15 series is like what you'd run in a B mod street stock type car. When you couple that with the SRT piston, you really have a phenomenal piece. You have a piece that's forcing oil through the valve, making valving, and you have a piston that allows the shock to never overpressure. So car gets through the rough. Our base valve does actually like a little bit of texture. We can get in the 4-6 inch rut deal and survive it very well, very, very well. Coupled with the SRT and doing this on 3 or 4 corners of the car, you have a phenomenal, set of shocks. It really will put feel and grip in the car. So 15 series base valve, 25 series base valve. We've started something new this year, which was 28 series, and it's not really a series because it'll go both. It's a shaft assembly. It'll go both in 15 series and 25 series stuff. And we call it a 28 series. It is rebound, high-speed, adjustable shaft. Okay, so your normal rebound adjuster is a needle, and it's low speed. Okay, and this is what it would look like, where you're adjusting the low speed part of the shock, but the high speed part of the shock stays relatively the same. That's because you've got a needle, it's in a jet, it's fully closed, and you're backing the needle off. And as you back the needle off, it allows more bleed. Okay, so you're affecting the level of grip in the car by messing with the bleed, and that's what that looks like. When you go to high speed, we are changing the overall value of the shock because we're putting more load to the stack, and it's creating a bigger 0 point as we go along, but it's also creating a stronger, I always reference to a guy that works out. If a guy works his upper body but not his legs, he's not as strong. If he works his entire body, then he has more strength. Well, that's what high-speed adjustment here is doing on the rebound side. It's creating more strength in the stack, which is making your car able to work better. So guys always ask, they're like, I've got, tacky and slick shock package. No, not really, because the same problem occurs on both packages. We're tight, we need to turn. So in the late model world where we're doing this, the needle, we are definitely screwing the needle down tight or full closed in the moisture and having to open it back up because we need to make grip. Okay, and we can't make grip if we don't have low speed bleed. Okay, well, this isn't affecting our low speed bleed, not at all. This is making the bleed that's there, which is exactly the same straight across the board, because we're not adjusting bleed, we're adjusting the high speed. It makes it the same, it just makes it work harder. So when we need more rebound, say in the slick, when we're off throttle, we have to wait longer on the car, that's when we need more rebound in the right front. Okay, 28 series shaft assembly, that's what that's all about. Very good piece. It is legal as a USRA modified, USRA D mod. It is legal in them classes. Okay, USRA stock car possibly could be legal. The tech official told me that you cannot make an adjustment without taking it off the car. Okay, so he doesn't want somebody going up to the lineup area and making an adjustment in the lineup area. Okay, so not a lot of people are doing this. Very, very good for the car. Street stock guys, you guys down south, you Crate Racing USA street stock guys, if you're watching today, hey, this is how you get better at racing. You do your homework, you do the stuff that you need to do in the off season to get better. Okay, this may be a gray area for it, may not be legal, but it's a tool. We can build each one of those shocks. So if you take the 28 series shock, put it on your car, and tune it like on a Wednesday practice night before a big race, or a Thursday practice night before a 2-day show, then you know what shock you need to pull off the wall to race at this track. Do I need a 300 or a 500, 800? This shock adjusts between 200 0 point and roughly 1,000. That example I showed you was between 2 and about 175 and 800. So it has a range of adjustment, has numbers on it that would tell us where you're at, and you say, I'm on, sorry about that, I'm on click 4 or 5, then we build a shock to that, So 28 series, and currently this cannot be coupled with a base valve. We would have to have some stuff on the shaft to keep it from going in. So it does add a little height to the shaft. 28 series can be run, 25 series. Really a good piece. And we have worked out a few of the details from last year, so we're just going to continually try to make that piece better. So that's pretty exciting.